I guess you love movies. I do too. Hi guys, and welcome back to another classic movie review, and today we're going to be talking about Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds from 1963, starring Tippi Hedren and Rod Taylor, and is about a woman played by Tippi Hedren who goes to a remote town in California to see an acquaintance played by Rod Taylor. She ends up getting roped into their family, and she ends up becoming, very attracted to him, and their relationship grows throughout the film. But while this is happening, the birds in the area seem to be doing peculiar things, and their behaviour starts to change before they end up starting to attack people and kill people entirely. In this, which is never truly explained what they're doing or why they're doing it, and that's probably why it's as creepy as it is. So, I've heard a lot about The Birds, heard a lot of people, rave about it, say it's one of Hitchcock's best films, so and so. But there are kind of there's a bit of a split on this film. Some people really love it, some people think it's dated. I'm kind of in the middle with this, because I can definitely see both standpoints. Now, what do I like about this film? Well, what I really like about it is you can definitely see Hitchcock's style in this movie, obviously from some of his best films like Psycho and Vertigo, Rear Window, all these type of movies. He's brilliant with suspense, and there are a lot of scenes in this movie that are very, very suspenseful. I really like the scene where you see some of these crows starting to land on the monkey bars. A very famous scene, and then eventually it's completely covered in them. I love that sort of progression. I love those sort of suspenseful sequences. I thought they were very, very well directed. I also really like the relationship between Rod Taylor and his wife, played by his mother, played by Jessica Tandy. And I love how she's really possessive of him. That's something that's in a lot of Hitchcock films, is a possessive mother character. But this has a lot more heart to it. You understand that she isn't trying to control him because she's a controlling, maniacal character. It's because she's alone, she's just lost her husband, and she doesn't want to lose him as well. And I like that sentimentality to her character, that sort of soft underbelly, and it really gives you a good relationship between the two characters. Tippi Hedren gives an okay performance in this movie. You can see that this is really her first acting job. She does get better after this. She did Marnie also with Hitchcock. She wasn't an actress before this, she's a model, so you can see that she's kind of adapting to something new. She isn't brilliant in this film, she's good enough, she looks great, as you'd expect for a model, but she isn't really great in the emotional scenes. She's decent, not spectacular. What I do really like in this movie is the use of green and the sort of natural feel of the film, this sort of elemental feel, that nature is sort of taking back what man's taken from it. There's a lot of houses with vines on them, sort of growing over them, sort of that natural feel, that sort of nature taking back what man's taken from it, as I said, sort of obviously is a symbolism for what the birds are doing throughout the film. I really enjoyed that in the movie. However, there are definitely problems with this film, and I can see a lot of people saying it's dated, because it is dated in a lot of scenes. The bird effects don't really look very good anymore, they do look quite dated. This is probably the most effects-driven movie that Hitchcock's ever made, and that probably makes it the most dated, because effects date. If you have great filmmaking, great storytelling, great characters, that doesn't really date ever. But effects do date, because technology advances through time, and this definitely is dated in its use of effects. And a lot of the scenes that maybe were disturbing back then, in 1963, are somewhat humorous now. There are still some suspenseful and interesting sequences that, get you on the edge of your seat. Hitchcock still has that great use of suspense, but some scenes aren't as shocking as maybe they would have been back in 1963. So overall, I enjoyed The Birds. It was a bit dated, and probably wouldn't be one of Hitchcock's movies I'd watch many more times. It's probably one of his weaker films, in my personal opinion, that I've seen. There are a few that I'd say are a bit weaker, that being Suspicion and The Man Who Knew Too Much. I'd say that Suspicion is if you want to watch Suspicion's a very good film right up until the end, where the end almost completely ruins the entire film. It's just a massively tacked on romantic ending that doesn't work at all. That's with Cary Grant and Joan Fontaine. And The Man Who Knew Too Much is a remake of Hitchcock's earlier film of the same name with James Stewart and Doris Day in it. It's very good, it's decent, it's not anything special, it's very solid throughout. I'd say this is about that quality. It's not up there with your Psychos or your Vertigos or your Rear Windows or anything like that, but it is a good time, entertaining, suspenseful in moments, somewhat dated in others, and overall I enjoyed The Birds, but I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10. So there you go, that's my review of The Birds. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, like, subscribe, drop your comments down in the section below. What is your favourite Hitchcock movie? Mine is Vertigo, right there. I think it's his best film, his most emotional film, his most complex. It most shows him as a man. It's the most morally complex, as I said. And it also has his distinctive style and brilliant technical ability that he's shown throughout all of his films. So yeah, Vertigo for me is my favourite. Also, I've just set up Twitter and Instagram accounts, so I would really appreciate it if you could follow me. Those links will be down in the description. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.